There are questions that hang in the air of human existence like mist, ungraspable, yet undeniable. Among them, none is more haunting, more enduring, than the one that arises the moment life ends. Where does the soul go, and does it stay for a time among the living? The moment a final breath escapes into the silence, something changes in the atmosphere. Those who have sat at the edge of death, nurses, priests, sons, daughters, often speak of an invisible presence that lingers, a soft pressure in the room, a lightness or stillness that is not quite silence, not quite sound. Throughout history, every civilization has attempted to answer the unanswerable. Ancient rituals, death rites, and sacred texts have not merely tried to explain what happens after death, but have revealed a universal intuition, that the soul does not vanish instantly. It remains. It watches. It remembers. In the dense labyrinth of Vedic texts, it is said that the soul, Atman, takes several days to detach fully from the body. The physical death is merely the first of many deaths. There is a separation from the senses, from the thoughts, and from the deep identity that has been forged over a lifetime. In Hindu tradition, 13 days of rituals follow death, designed not only to honor the deceased, but to help the soul complete its detachment from earthly ties and move forward. Until that transition is complete, the soul is said to hover near the physical realm, often revisiting familiar places, drawn by emotion or unfinished connections. In the Buddhist view, particularly within Tibetan Buddhism, the Bardo state, the intermediate state between death and rebirth, is not a metaphor, but a literal spiritual phase. Lasting up to 49 days, this period is a passage of fluctuating clarity and confusion, where the soul encounters visions, memories, and karmic imprints. It is not entirely here, nor entirely gone. It may witness the mourning of its loved ones. It may attempt communication. It may even be aware of prayers spoken in its name. The living, through their thoughts and actions, can influence the soul's journey. There is, within this doctrine, a powerful sense of connection that lingers beyond the grave. Christian mystics have often written of an intermediate state, a place between heaven and earth, in which the soul awaits judgment, purification, or resolution. In early Christian theology, the idea of purgatory emerged, not necessarily as punishment, but as a necessary purification. During this phase, the soul is aware, conscious of the impact of its life, and in some interpretations, even capable of visiting the realm it just left. Ghosts in this context are not wayward spirits, but souls paused in liminality, tethered by regret, guilt, or longing. The Orthodox Christian tradition holds to the belief that for 40 days after death, the soul visits places it has known. It revisits its home, the places it loved, and the people it cherished. It is during this time that memorial services are held at precise intervals, on the third day, the 9th, and finally, the 40th day, ritual markers of the soul's gradual separation. These ancient practices suggest that death is not an instant curtain drop but a slowly fading light, a quiet undoing of all that has bound the spirit to the body. In Africa, in the old ways of the Yoruba or the Dogon, the soul was seen not as something that vanished, but as a force that lingered in the land, the wind, and the memory. Ancestors were not considered gone, but transformed. Their presence was invoked in ceremonies, felt in dreams, heard in the rustle of leaves. They guided the living, protected them, and sometimes warned them. The soul remained, so long as it was remembered, so long as its name was spoken aloud, but in contrast to ritual and belief, there are also personal, private experiences that defy doctrine. Stories not found in holy books, but whispered across cultures. The child who hears her mother's voice days after her funeral. The old man who sees the silhouette of his late wife at dusk every evening for a week. The dreams so vivid they do not feel like dreams at all, but visitations. The flickering lights. The stopped clocks. The scent of perfume in an empty room. Are these tricks of grief? Of the mind reaching for what is lost? Or are they signs that the soul has not entirely left? Modern science offers few concrete answers. The soul, if it exists in material terms, leaves no detectable residue. Consciousness, that most intimate and yet ungraspable force, cannot be weighed or measured. And yet, even here, new paradigms emerge. Quantum physics does not deal in absolutes. It teaches us that matter can exist in multiple states, that particles separated by vast distances can remain connected, entangled, as if time and space are not barriers at all. Could consciousness behave in similar ways? Could it stretch across realms, linger in fields of memory and intention, flicker between dimensions not yet understood? Some scientists, cautiously, reluctantly, have begun to entertain the idea that the mind may not be confined to the brain. That it may, under certain conditions, exist independently, at least temporarily. Those who have undergone near-death experiences often describe an overwhelming sense of presence. Many report hovering above their own lifeless bodies, seeing, hearing, remembering. Others speak of tunnels, lights, figures waiting in the distance, but not yet calling. A pause, a waiting. Some of these people are clinically dead for several minutes. And yet, they return with memories that match events later verified, conversations that took place in another room, facts they could not have known. If these accounts are to be taken seriously, and some medical professionals now believe they must, then perhaps the soul does not depart in haste. Perhaps it hovers, processing, watching, seeking a path forward. Perhaps death is not a door that slams shut, but one that remains ajar. In folklore and fiction, the soul that lingers often does so for a reason. To say goodbye. To guide. To resolve. There are countless tales of the dying uttering final words that imply someone unseen is already waiting for them. Others speak of last-minute reconciliations, as if the soul holds back just long enough for a final moment of peace, and then there are those souls that seem unable, or unwilling, to leave. Houses remembered as haunted are often steeped in grief, injustice, or unresolved tragedy. Could these be souls in stasis? Echoes of something unfinished? Time itself becomes uncertain in such realms. A soul may linger for hours, or for what we perceive as years. But to that soul, time may no longer move linearly. It may pass like wind or water, pooling in places of great emotion, drawn to the gravity of memory. A mother may die thinking only of her child, and so her presence may return to that child for comfort or protection. A man murdered unjustly may find himself unable to move beyond the echo of violence, and yet, there is also mercy. Most traditions believe that the soul eventually finds its way. That love, prayer, or divine guidance gently coaxes it onward. Some suggest that when the soul is finally ready, when the ties of earth are loosened, the transition is effortless. Like stepping into light, so then, how long does a soul remain on earth after death? There may be no single answer. It may depend on the soul, on the life lived, on the love left behind, or the pain still echoing. Some may leave quickly, like a bird startled into flight. Others may linger like fog over a river, slow to lift, but even as they depart, they leave traces, an old song that stirs the heart without warning, a sudden chill, a whisper just outside hearing. And perhaps that is the truest sign that a soul was here. That it was, and still is, in some way beyond measure. That the line between life and death is not a border, but a veil, and through that veil, souls pass, slowly. Silently, carrying with them the weight of love, the memory of earth, and the soft astonishment of having once been alive.